Hi there! Today is Wednesday, the 1st of July, and I have a lap full of little wiggly babies. So on Monday the 29th, Violet delivered her litter of pups. So Violet was bred to River, and she delivered 11 puppies from those two. So I've got a whole lap full of can you come over here, Violet? You're kind of in the way. I've got a whole lap full of wiggly little pups now. If you hear Violet panting, brand new pups have to be kept really, really warm. You want to keep them between about 85 and 90 degrees to start with. And so it's a little warm for Mama's comfort, and that's why they pant a little bit. She's going to get up and get a drink now. But that just really helps get the pups off to a good start. So here are Violet and River's 11 puppies. She delivered 6 boys and 5 girls. So real good litter we got going on here. And we'll just kind of show them to you, let you get to know each pup a little bit. Let's start with the girls. I actually have a list over here in the corner of their weights, and I'll just go in order of the list. So that way with so many pups, I don't get confused who I've already done. So it looks like Purple, the purple girl, is first on our list. Oh, she's even kind of right here at the edge. And her weight is 12.6 ounces. So we'll show her to you. One thing I'll mention real fast before we get too far into her, I'll sit her back down for a sec so you can see. These pups are really dark. Violet is a very dark Vizsla, and so we're seeing that coming through in her pups. Their color will change a little bit from what they are right now. They're born more brown. Got a little fuzzies from the blanket. They're born more brown than what they will end up. They will get more red as they mature. Right now, their coats are super, super soft. And as they mature, they'll get a little bit, they're still soft. They're not coarse, but the texture does, get a little bit more mature. And the color changes a little bit in that process. But a pup who is really dark at birth, that's going to translate into being dark at maturity as well, even though their color is going to change a little bit. So this is a very dark litter that we've got going on. We're seeing Mama's coloring coming through. River is not near as dark as Violet. He's more probably the average color for a Vizsla. Vizslas can range anywhere from strawberry blonde to super, super dark. Violet is probably about the darkest Vizsla I've seen. Her coat as well as her eyes, they're just a real deep color. Any color in that range is fine. It is important Vizslas have, the reddish hue to their coat, but they can be anything from strawberry blonde to a deep rust. These guys are going to turn out that deep rust like Mama. All right, so let's get started. We'll go back again. Purple girl, 12.6 ounces. So here she is. Beautiful little pup. We'll roll her over and we'll show you a few things. So if you look right here on her tummy, she's got a little scab. That's where her umbilical cord was, where, connected her to her placenta for nourishment in the womb. Basically, that's a dog's belly button. They don't really have innies or outies like people do. That will just heal and be smooth. It does create kind of just a little scar look on a dog's belly, is all that their belly buttons turn out to be. But that's what that scab you're seeing right now, that's simply her belly button. If we take a look here, she has some marking right here in the chest, a line that kind of goes up and down right there by the calic of her chest. She has the white marking. She's got fuzzies from the blanket on her toes, but her front paws are solid. And her back paws, there might be a little bit of a highlight that'll come on these 2 toes right here. Not a definite white marking, but a little bit of a highlight might be on those toes as she grows. So there she is. Our purple girl. They're all squirmy, trying to figure out why they can't get to Mama. Pups, obviously at this point, their eyes are closed, as well as their ears. So let's see who's next on our list, and I'll show you that on her. It looks like the peach girl will be our next puppy. So most people realize that a pup, when they're born, their eyes are sealed shut. They'll open between 2 to 3 weeks of age, that those eyes will open. A lot of people don't realize their ears are sealed shut as well. So if you look right here in Peach's ear, there's not an open ear canal like a grown dog. Her ears are sealed shut. They're also really small. An adult Vizsla, their ears are going to be pendulous and hang down to kind of Their ears are going to be pendulous and hang down to kind of this jaw level. You know, hers are very tiny. They will grow. As she grows, they're really thick and waxy and small and sealed shut. As she grows, they'll get to her, you know, more normal proportions. They'll thin out, and at about the same time, again 2 to 3 weeks, about the same time that their eyes open, their ears will open as well. So right now, they actually can't see or hear. They're solely dependent on their sense of smell. So they're sniffing around, wiggling around, trying to find mama so that they can eat, but I've kind of got them circled in here for the movie. Oh, I shouldn't have sat her down. We have to still show her to you. Let's get Peach again. So here is our Peach girl, and her weight is 12.0 ounces. So just a little bit smaller, less than an ounce smaller than Purple, her sister. And one thing I'll show you on her, their tails are long when they're born, but because they get so thin at the end, they're thinner than like a lab's tail or something like that. And they're so active, they can actually break the end of their tail when they get bigger, running through things and whacking their tail on something. And so for that reason, Wissla's tails are docked, and that will happen in just a few days here. It happens between ages of 3 and 5 days. And you leave 2/3 of the tail and just take off this skinny little end so that they aren't prone to breaking their tail. So that will be happening shortly. That happens 3 to 5 days of age, before their eyes and ears and everything are open. Their nervous system isn't done developing. You know, they're born with their eyes and their ears shut. That nervous system is still developing, and for that reason, you would think it's terribly uncomfortable. But they say that they really don't feel it much because that nervous system isn't developed. And you know, when we bring them back, they really don't act like a thing in the world has happened. As soon as they're back with mama and able to nurse, they think the world's great. They don't act like anything's happened. So, you know, it's good to do it at a real early age like that. The other thing that will happen at an early age, we've got an escaper. Hold on. Come back, Blue. The other thing that'll happen at an early age, and again, it's for the safety of the dog, they're born with a dew claw, which is basically a thumb right there on their front paws. Wissla's, being again active hunting dogs, running through the brush, they can actually snag that toe and rip it off, which is much more of a traumatic injury to rip it off as a grown dog than to just take it off while they're super teeny tiny, and again, their nervous system isn't developed. So that will be taken off at the same time that their tail will be done. Again, those are done because they're such an active breed and for their safety. Okay, hold on, let me wipe off my fingers here. Little puppies are getting me dirty. They sometimes, little pups, being real super young, another thing people may not realize, they're not actually able to relieve themselves on their own. Mama has to lick them for them to go potty. And so sometimes when you start picking them up and touching them, that stimulates them like mama. And sometimes they get you a little, she's going to demonstrate, they get you a little dirty. Okay, yeah, you take care of her so she doesn't do it on me. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Good mama. Okay, let's show you Peach here. So if we roll her over, again, you're going to see her belly button scab, and we'll take a look at her. If we tip her chin up real high, there's no markings in her throat and neck area. She has a tiny, I don't know if the camera will even see it. It's like maybe 1 or 2 hairs, white hairs, right there on the calico. I don't think that's going to stay. And to tell you the truth, it's so tiny, I'm not even sure if I'm seeing it right or if it's just the light reflecting off of her coat. I think there's 1 or 2 white hairs there. I would be very surprised if that stays. Solid front paws and solid back paws. So Peach here is going to be a solid Wissla. So Wisslas can be solid, all monochromatic, all the same, you know, for these guys, deep rust color, or they can have white markings, and that comes from the breeds that were used to create the Wissla. Some of those had white markings. So that's why you'll see white markings on some and not others. And it can show up in any Wisslas. So River has some white markings, just a little bit. He has white on his back feet. And then Violet is a solid Wissla. But, you know, even when you breed 2 solid Wisslas, you can end up with marked pups. It's just, you know, those hidden things that come through their genetics. There's not a right or wrong on it. For if you're wanting to do the show dogs, the conformation is what it's called. It's the prettiest dog contest. They do prefer solid dogs for that. And if you're wanting to breed, you would want to make sure all their markings are, within the breed standard. But they are allowed to have some white markings, and it's pretty much a matter of preference on that. So there is our Peach. Next on the list for our girls is Teal. She's over here. Teal is the little pup from the litter. She's quite a bit smaller than some of the others. So sometimes the pups that are born little like this, they just catch up, and others are what you would consider, maybe some would call a runt, which basically if they're a runt, quote unquote runt, they're going to stay smaller at maturity. If they were just smaller but catch up, that's usually due to the fact that on a big litter like this, especially, it's true of any litter of puppies, but especially when mama has a really big litter like Violet did, not all of the eggs were released at the same time. So some of the pups are actually a few days younger in the womb than the other pups. Their egg was actually fertilized a little later. So at this point, I don't know which Teal is. We'll watch her, we'll see how she grows, we'll see whether she's going to stay small or whether she's just, a hair younger than some of her siblings, some of her litter mates. But at this point, she is quite a bit smaller. Her weight is 7.8 ounces. Let me look and see. Our biggest pup looks like it's pink. So let's just show you the comparison. From biggest to smallest, Pink and Teal. You can see there is a significant difference in size between these two girls. So we'll just watch Teal and see. Well, by the time she's, it's pick time and she's ready to go home and that kind of stuff, we'll be able to tell you a pretty good idea whether she's going to stay smaller than normal, or whether, she's going to be an average size Vizsla. So let's show her to you. Again, you can see just the really deep dark coloring. And if we roll her over and get her head up here, nothing in her throat and neck, which we prefer not to see markings there. Occasionally they will show up. And again, that's just the breeds that were used in creating the Vizsla. Anytime you have a purebred dog, what has happened is generations back in their heritage, people created that breed by mixing several different breeds together to get the dog they were after, to get the traits they were after. And so, it can be anywhere from 3 or 4 breeds to a dozen or more breeds that go into a mix to create a new breed. And so, that happened with the Vizsla. And so that's where you see the markings coming through. And because of the breeds that were used, sometimes you'll see markings here in the throat and neck. Those are not actually breed standard markings, even though they are just simply their genetics coming through from the breeds that were used to create. So you will see it. A dog that has the markings in the neck or throat area would not be used for a show dog and should not be used for breeding either. But anything besides that, it's not going to affect their performance as a hunter, as a companion, as a runner. It doesn't affect their personality, anything like that. So, if you're looking to breed or to show, quote unquote, show your dog, that would be something to be aware of. But for her, there's nothing in the throat, nothing in the chest. Come on, sweetheart. Nothing in her front paws. And her back paws are also solid. So little Teal here is going to be a solid Vizsla. Gotta wiggle a little bit. Sorry, my legs are going to sleep. So there is our little Teal girl. Okay, next on our list of girls is the big one, Miss Pink here. So Miss Pink is weighing in at 15.8 ounces. So she's the heavy hitter for the litter at this point. Again, just like little Miss Teal that was born small, she may stay small, she may catch up. Some of these that are born really big, it may just be that they were a little bit older in their development, or it could be that their positioning in the uterus gave them a little bit of an advantage as far as nutrition. Sometimes they stay really big, and sometimes their litter mates just simply catch up with them. My gut is that Pink will stay big, simply because her daddy River is very big. And so I'm guessing that that's what's happening, that she's got some of her daddy's genetics being expressed. But again, we'll watch her, and by the time it's pick time and going home time, you know, we'll have a pretty good idea about whether she'll be a little bit above average in size or whether, you know, everyone else will catch up. So let's roll her back and let you take a look at her. So here is an example of that marking in the throat that I was talking about. That's simply the breeds that were used in creating a Vizsla. Those hidden genetics that pop out every once in a while. She does have that marking in the throat. She also has the marking here across the chest. Now, markings on the chest are according to breed standard. But because she has marking in the throat, we would not suggest her as a breeder. So she would, you know, go limited registration to someone who's looking for a hunter, a runner, a family member, a companion, you know, all those wonderful types of things. Let's take a look. Put your chin up. Front paws are solid, and back paws are solid as well. So she has that marking, a little one on the chest and a little one in the throat. But they are both big enough. I expect both of those markings will stay with her through maturity throughout her life. So there is our big Pink girl. On our last girl is Yellow. She's right here. Yellow is weighing in at 13.2. So she's kind of a little bit to the bigger. She's the second biggest girl that we've got. Mama thinks she's got to lick her and take care of her, huh, Mama? So you can see on Yellow, her umbilical cord has not fully fallen off yet. So this brown stringy stuff looking, that's just her umbilical cord. The others have come off. Hers is still, you know, needing to fall off. Again, that'll happen in a day or two whenever her body is ready for it to happen. And we will take a look at Yellow here. If we tip her, Mama's got to get in on the action. If we tip, her throat is solid, nothing in the neck and throat, but she does have a definite marking on her chest. That would be probably, Mom's trying to pick her up and take her away. That would be probably the biggest chest marking of the girls. Right there in the center of her chest, pretty symmetrical. Right there. If we take a look at her front paws, they're solid. If we take a look at her back paws, they're all wet now from Mama licking them, which makes it harder to see, but they're looking pretty solid as well. So Yellow, I mean, just has this one marking right here in the chest. All right, so those are the girls. I'm gonna wiggle, get some blood flow into this leg. I'm not gonna be able to walk when I get up. Okay, let's go to the boys. All right, moving on to our boys. We've let some of the girls scoot over and nurse on Mama. That'll help keep them happier. Brown is the first boy on our list, and he is pretty big. He's at 14.4 ounces. So pretty good size little boy we got going on here. And let's take a look at him. If we roll him back, he's solid in the neck and throat. He has actually a symmetrical, almost like a sheriff badge look, or kind of a badge look right here on his chest. Definite white marking there. Something like that definitely stays through maturity. His front paws are solid, and his back paws are solid as well. So there is our brown boy. Again, 14.4 ounces for him. I'll let him go over by Mama. Red is nursing, so we're gonna have to steal him real fast. Come here, Red man. Okay, here is our red puppy. For Red, he's weighing in at 14 ounces even, so just a hair smaller than Brown. And let's take a look at this boy. If we roll him back, he has a little bit right there in his neck and throat. So again, limited registration on him. We wouldn't suggest him for a breeder, just for that simple reason. We have marking right here at the calic, and again, two sides going down right like this. So again, it's pretty symmetrical. right there in his chest. If we take a look, front paws are solid and back paws are as well. So he is quite a heavily marked pup for Mr. Red. All right, the next boy on our list is trying to get away from me. Let's hurry and grab him. Oops, sorry, I bumped the camera. Mr. Orange. So Orange here is weighing in at 12.6 ounces. And let's take a look at him. If we roll him back, he has a tiny right here in the throat. That could go away. We'll watch that one and see. It's so small it could go away. He also has kind of three little spots right there on his chest. His grandma has that same marking, so that's kind of fun. Front paws are solid and back paws are solid as well. A little dirty, but they're solid. All right, that's Orange. We'll give him back to Mama. Next on our list is Mr. Green, who is in the pile of nursing puppies. So let's see if we can grab him. Come here, Green. I'm sorry, you can finish in a minute. They want to see you. Okay, here is our green dot. His collar's inside out. Our green dot puppy right here. And let's roll him back. Come on. He does have a little tiny in the throat, a few hairs. We'll watch that and see whether that stays or goes. And then he has, it's small, but it is definite clear marking right here in the chest. I'm pretty sure that will stay. As far as his paws, can we sit him on your head, Mama? Okay. His front paws are solid. His back paws have some markings. So this is like River. Daddy River has markings on his back feet. And he's got those toes right there and those toes right there that have some white on them. So there is our Mr. Green. And again, maybe I didn't tell you on him. I don't remember. So 12.6 was Orange. 12.4 is Mr. Green. 12.4. All right. And then Gray is next on our list. Let's see. Gray. Oh, he's hiding over here behind Mama. Come here, Mr. Gray. So Mr. Gray is the smallest of the boys, just by a hair. Blue, who we'll do next, is very close. Gray is the smallest of the boys at 11 ounces. Again, we will watch that and see, is he just younger or is he going to be smaller? We, have a lot better feel of that after we've had them in our home for a couple of months, and watching their growth rates compared to the other pups gives us a really pretty good idea. So we'll keep you filled in on that. There's not a right or wrong, whether you prefer big or small, whether you prefer light or dark, whether you prefer marked or unmarked. It's all really just preference, what your preference is. But so he's on the smaller side of the males at this point. Let's roll him back. We'll use Mama again. She works out pretty good as a table. Nothing in the throat and neck. He's solid there. He has one little line straight down from his cowlick. Just a little tiny marking. That's small enough it may go away at maturity. We'll just have to watch that and see. His front paws are solid. And his back paws, they're solid looking at this point to me as well. So there is Mr. Gray with just the one little teeny tiny marking that may or may not go away on his chest. All right, and our last boy, who is also on the smaller side. So Gray was 11 ounces even. Mr. Blue here is 11.2. So very, very close, these two. And let's take a look at Mr. Blue. If we roll him over and look, I can't tell if that's just the light reflecting. There may be one or two white hairs right there. I can't really tell if it's just the light reflecting. We'll watch that. If it is, it's so small I doubt it will stay. I can't even tell for sure if it's there. Chest is solid. If we look at front paws, they are solid. And if we look at back paws, they are solid. So Mr. Blue, I'm guessing, is going to be a solid pup. We'll just have to watch and see whether, as his coat changes, I really can't tell if that's just a shiny spot or if that's going to be a white marking. We'll have to watch that on him. And there is our Mr. Blue. Again, towards the smaller side. And again, we'll, watch their growth patterns and rates and be able to give you a pretty good idea towards, a pretty good guess towards their size and maturity. All right. So there are Violet's puppies. They're growing well. They're doing really good. We'll see if we can gather up the ones that aren't nursing again, so you can see at least a few of them. They're growing well. They're real healthy, doing good. We're real happy with them. And again, they'll be going into the vet for their first check in just a few days here. And then we'll let you know how that goes and what the vet has to say. But the vet's always been real impressed with our pups and their health and everything. They just do really, really well. We're really happy with them and really excited for them to be able to join your families and your homes, and be another addition to your life that just brings so much joy and fullness and excitement into life. So we're happy to introduce them to you.